Is it clear? Quickly, guys. Is this better? All right, cool. Okay, so we are back. Thanks to my tech team. Thanks for being here. So let's continue. All right, so we're going to learn about these 4 types of business ventures. When a person or a group of people want to start a business, they can start in many ways. I'm talking about the 4 most commonly done ways. So first is the term called sole proprietorship. What is this sole proprietorship all about? See, if you want to start a company, if you want to start a business, remember, company is different, business is different. Business is an idea which will make you money. Okay. Now, if you want to run a business, you can start doing it by something called as proprietorship. What is the meaning of proprietorship and what is the meaning of sole proprietorship? You are the only owner for the entire business. Nobody else is a part of it. Most importantly, there is no difference between business and your personal belongings. I'll explain what it means. So, if you are running something called as a sole proprietorship and you take a loan, okay, when you take a loan, you take the loan on the business, on you. So if something goes wrong with the business, the bank that gives you a loan can come and not just take the business assets, it can come to your house and it can take everything that belongs to you. So a proprietorship does not have a difference, it does not distinguish between your value, your assets and the business assets. For example, if you take a difference, compare this with a company. How is a company different? If I run a company, okay, then I will take the loan on the name of the company, not on my name. I will have to establish this company. There are rules and regulations. I have to follow according to those. I have to establish this company, register this company, and I can then take a loan on the name of the company. So if something goes wrong, the bank will not come to me and ask me for the loan, it will ask the company for the loan. If the company can pay it, it will pay. If the company cannot pay, they can't come to my house and take my assets. So a company is different from the person. So now remember, you might ask, sir, but the company is held by one person or two people. Doesn't matter. In legal terms, a company is a person in itself. It's just managed by people who own the company, or it is managed by a CEO, whatever. But the losses cannot go from the company to the people who are owning the company, unless there is fraud. See, if you have done a fraud, then your entire assets can be taken away. But if you have done everything properly, but something went wrong, some business scenario went wrong and you made a loss, then the loans that the company has taken cannot be recovered by you. But in a proprietorship, it is not like that. There is no difference between the business and you. Which means you can show your expenses as a part of your business expenses, and the tax implications will be accordingly. So don't worry too much about it. The bottom line is, in a sole proprietorship, the company and you are the same. The business and you are the same. Whereas limited liability company. Now, what is this limited? Limited is the liability. If something goes wrong, what is limited? Only the company, up to the company's assets, you can take away. You can't go from the company to me. So that is a limitation. That is why it is called as limited liability company. Then there is something called as a partnership. So a sole proprietorship, if sole is one person. If you have 2 or 3 people running a business, but not a company again, you're running a business, then it is called as a general partnership. More or less, it's like a sole proprietorship, but with now more than one person. Again, the difference is, if something goes bad with the company and the company is in losses and you've taken a loan, you can't pay the loan back, then the bank or the people who have given you the loan can come to your house and take away your assets, or your partners, both. So that is called as a general partnership. There is no difference between the business and your assets. But when you're talking about a limited liability company, yes, they can't do that. There is something also called as limited liability partnership. Now, limited liability partnership, the difference is, now this is in between. This is in between these two. It is not a company, it is not a partnership. There is a limitation to the liability. So if there are losses in terms of, once again, your business did not work and you have taken a loan to run the business, you have to pay the loan back. But now this time, because of this nature of limited liability partnership, the loan givers cannot come to your house. They can only look at whatever is there within the business and take it away. Clear? Partnership, 2 or more persons, yes. Sole is single, liability of partners are limited. Very good, Dipankar. So that is basically the difference. So this is enough for you to understand. Now, if you go into the legal terms, there are a lot more things. If you go into the MBA, you will learn a lot other things. But obviously, I leave it for the good MBA professors to teach you, the legal professors there. You're going to have one legal subject too, because you need to understand the legal angle of business. So I will leave it to the good professors there. But this, at least you should know. What is the difference between a company and a partnership or a proprietorship? Clear? This clear? All right, let's move on. Now, when you're starting, so now that we are anyway talking about running a company needs money. So it is called as, the money that you are using in the company is called as capital. The term used is capital. So the capital is basically the money you are investing in the business. Let's take my favorite example of Pani Puri. Okay, so if I want to run a Pani Puri company, okay, so what will I do? I will invest capital. Where will I invest it? I will invest it in raw materials. Okay, I will invest it in probably the cart, the Pani Puri cart. I'll probably invest a little bit in, if it's a big one, it's a big cart, not a small one. I have 2-3 carts like this. I can print a little bit of pamphlets, let people know that I'm there. So I'll invest it in marketing. I'll spend this money in all these areas. But this money, where will I get from? What is the source for this money? Broadly, there are 2 types of sources. One is called equity. The other is called debt. Debt is the easiest for you to understand. Debt is loan. Debt is nothing but loan. So I will start my business in a company, proprietorship, partnership, doesn't matter, whatever it is. My business I'll start by taking money of others as a loan, right? Or I can take money, my own money, and put it, or I can take others' money and put it as equity. Let's understand the difference between these two. Equity means people who are giving money to you or to the business will start getting a share in the business. They'll start getting a share in the business. So they will not give money just like that, obviously. And it is not also a confirmed return in terms of interest rate. There's no interest per se. They will give money to the business saying that, look, I will give you, so let us say that I went to a person, I want to run this Pani Puri stall. He likes the idea and he knows that people love Pani Puri in the area I'm trying to set up. He'll say, look, I like your idea, I'll give you 1 lakh. I'll give you 1 lakh. Whatever money you make, basically I want to be in your business of Pani Puri. I want to be, let's say, a 50% owner. Now let's not worry whether 1 lakh is 50%, 60%, doesn't matter, whatever. We will figure it out how much percentage for how much of money. But the point is, whatever business I'm building, he will be some percentage ownership, or he will have, or that person who has given the money to me will have certain percentage of ownership. Debt or loan doesn't work like that. The thing about debt is, they will, if somebody is giving me this 1 lakh as loan, they will not ask for ownership. I am the owner. But I am required to pay back an interest. I am required to pay back an interest. So in debt, that is loan, my job as the business is to pay back interest yearly, monthly, whatever is the negotiation we have done, whatever is the percentage we have negotiated with. In equity, there is no such requirement. But what happens? If the company makes profits, that profits will be shared in the ratio of the owners. So let us say I put 1 lakh, I take 1 lakh from somebody else as equity, 50-50 ownership. And the Pani Puri stall is doing wonders. Every month it is generating profits. After expenses, it is generating, let's say, 50,000 per month. So in 1 year, it will generate 6 lakhs profit. So I will be giving 3 lakhs to the other person because he owns 50% of all the profits. I will take 3 lakhs. So this is how equity will work. Okay, clear? Now, the only difference, the reason why should somebody, or can somebody, in fact, let me ask you a question. Is it good to take equity or debt when you're running a company? When or what is the consideration? When will you think of taking an equity or, giving money, taking money for equity, and when do you think of taking a debt? What is the advantages? And let's look at the other way around. If not the answer directly, let's look at the advantages and disadvantages. So let me write that down. Equity, advantage, disadvantage. Okay, let's look at it. Anyone? Name few advantages of equity, if you can think of. Similarly, few disadvantages of equity. Debt, few advantages of debt, few disadvantages of debt. So you are the business owner, you want to start a business, you want to take money, you want to take capital. These are the two options for you. If you take money as equity from others, what are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Similarly, if you take money as debt from the others, what are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Dividend doesn't come given every year in equity. That will come back to dividends later, Kush. Any other broad, pros and cons? Simple, one or two. Let me give you one for debt. Advantage of taking a debt is no dilution of ownership. So if I take loan, my company belongs to me still. I am 100% owner, right? I'm not giving a part of my company to anybody. But what is the disadvantage? The disadvantage is I must pay interest. If I can't pay interest and finally I also have to pay principal. Now let's understand the situation. I took my Pani Puri example. Instead of 1 lakh and 1 lakh as equity, I took my own 1 lakh and I took 1 lakh as a loan. Okay. Now that person said, look, I will give you 1 lakh at 20% interest rate, which means every year I have to pay him 20,000. Correct? So if my business is doing well, and let's say the time period is 2 years. So every year I'll pay him 20%. So 1 lakh, 20%, 20,000 at the end of the year. Again, second year, 20%, I'll pay 20,000 at the end of second year. When will I be able to pay this? If my business is doing well. If my business is doing well, I'll very happily pay it and I'm done. 2 years ke baad, I don't require it because I'm generating profits. The problem comes if I am only making 15,000 profit in a year. If I make 15,000 profit in a year, what is happening then? I will not be able to pay the first 20,000. So I am falling short of 5,000. I am not able to repay my loan. It's like an EMI, imagine. What happens to the bank if you don't repay an EMI? Either there will be a fine or they will come and say, hey, what is the problem? Why are you not able to pay? There should be an explanation given to you. If they like the explanation, they will let you stay. Otherwise, they'll start taking your asset. Same thing here. If I'll be under the pressure of making this payment always. I'll always be under the pressure of making this payment. Okay. Now the equity advantage, no pressure of payment. Why? Because if the company makes profit, then only he will get. Otherwise, if I make a loss, there's nothing that I have to give him. So no pressure. But what is the disadvantage? Obviously, diluting. Basically, dilution means instead of owning 100%, I'm now going to own only 90% or 80% or 70%, depending upon how much I gave away. Which means if I'm making profits, direct percentage of profits will go away. Direct percentage of profits will go away. So that is a disadvantage. So there are many other advantages and disadvantages. I'm giving you the most important as far as the exam is concerned. Okay? Clear? Right. This is bare essentials. This is not the finance that you'll learn. You'll learn a lot more than this. This is like not even ABCD. This is just the basic. Okay. Okay. Now look at this one question. USP. First, what is the meaning of USP? And therefore, what is the correct answer? I'll give you 30 seconds to think and I'll explain the concept of USP. Okay, let's move on. Let's go on. Give me the answer, guys. Very good, Dipankar. Which means the answer is straight away D. USP stands for unique selling proposition. Now let me explain. So we are talking about running a business, right? So I am starting a Pani Puri stall. The first question you need to ask is, why should people come to me? What is so special? What is so unique about me that people, let us imagine that I want to open, I'm in Bangalore. So let us take an hypothetical city, some place, whatever, XYZ city. In a small place, I'm opening a Pani Puri. Already there is one Pani Puri wala, right? There's already one guy selling it. I am also opening. Why should people come to me? Typically, what is the reason? The taste should be better or the price should be lower. Something which is not there with others. Ideally, price is not the reason, because if I decrease the price, the other person can also decrease. But if I make tastier things, he cannot make tastier things that easily, because it's an art. Remember, you're getting into the art field now. So taste, cooking is an art. It's not, just tomorrow morning I want tastier food. I can't get tastier food just like that. But price, yes, Pani Puri, one plate, 25 rupees, I can make it to 20 rupees. He can also make 20 rupees. So there's something unique about pricing. Unless I can bring the price so low that he cannot match, and I have some other reason why my price can go low. But little price difference here and there is not called unique selling proposition. So the whole idea is unique selling proposition. What is it that I am offering the customers that others can't offer? Why should they come to me? That is called as unique selling proposition. So which of the following is incorrect? Straight away the answer is this. But let's look at the other points which are very important. Okay. USP could help a product be priced higher than competition, definitely. If I am giving something which competition cannot match in terms of a quality which nobody else has, I can definitely keep it higher. Look at Apple. Apple's phone is known for a lot of things. While I don't use Apple, but I can definitely say that it's one of the very robust products out there. And you know the price, people joke about it. I want to buy an Apple, so they'll say, okay, which kidney did you sell, or which body part did you sell, correct? So that's how they are able to, command that high price, because they have something unique. They have a very robust operating system. They have a very robust hardware itself is very robust. They have a very good Apple Care that way. So they have a lot of features there, which others are not able to match. So that's one example. You can also look at many other examples. Anybody who is able to give something which others can't, because of that, they can increase the price. Simple. It is what makes your product different from your competitors. Of course, that is exactly what I'm saying, right? The term USP was coined by television advertising pioneer Ross Reeves of Ted Bates and Company. This is a information which you can remember. This is correct. The term USP was coined by television advertising pioneer Ross Reeves of Ted Bates and Company. Right? This is one piece of GK which they can ask you. Let's move on. Clear? Any doubts in this, guys? Can I have a quick round of responses from all of you? Did you understand the meaning of unique selling proposition? Yes, no? Alright, so before I move on, guys, I want to get a like for this particular video. If you really enjoy these sessions, please do give me a like, because your likes are your feedbacks to us. So the more likes you give, the more positive the feedback we take it as. Right? Okay, let's move on. Right, which of the following do not invest in startups? Now, I will give you an understanding about different types of investors. But first, let's take this question. Then the theory is about investors, because you're talking about running a company, starting a company, borrowing money and all. So let's get into this now. What is the answer to this? I'll explain each one slowly, but let's take a look at it. What is the answer? The correct answer is B. In fact, I think I have a slide. It's supposed to be yes. So let's understand types of funding entities. So who are these people who can fund a startup? The first step or the smallest of these type of people are called as angel investors or seed investors. Who are these guys? These are individuals, sometimes a group of two people who have money, their own personal money, and they have a business idea somebody brought to them, and they like the business idea and they want to put money in this business. These people will not put very large amounts of money. Depends on who. So see, if you go and ask Mukesh Ambani, he can put money on his personal capacity as big as probably even a big private equity. But let's talk normally. Normally, when you're talking about individuals, not exceptional people, yes, they will put few lakhs. Probably if you are really rich, probably 1 crore, 1.5 crore on your personal capacity, 2 crores in India. In US, it could be few $1,000s to probably $100,000, $250,000, up to probably $1 million also, depending upon the level of the person. So typically these are individuals or a small group of 2-3 people who are connected. They come together and they'll give you the money if you can convince them about your business idea. So they are called as angel investors because they are helping you out as angels when you are in need, or seed investors. So seed investors are, what is a seed? A seed, when you put and pour water and give good nutrition and sunlight, it grows into a tree. So the people who can help you in that seed phase to grow, basically that's the logic, seed investor, right? The next is venture capital. Venture capital is slightly bigger. You are not talking about individuals anymore. You are talking about a bigger group of people. With, obviously, because there are bigger group of people, they will pool their money together. So they will have a bigger purse to help out bigger companies or a startup itself with bigger investments. So somebody has a great idea and they need not 50 lakhs or 1 crore, but they need something like 25 crores. Obviously, an angel investor, one person or even 2-3 people spending 25 crores is very difficult. So then probably a venture capital can come in depending upon the size. 25 crores, sometimes venture capitals also won't come in. Depends. It all depends on the ticket size of your business. The whole idea is these guys are slightly bigger than angel investors in terms of, so it's not just an individual anymore, it's more organized. You have a group of people, there'll be a asset manager who's going to take this fund and put money. There'll be individual managers who are going to look at what the companies are doing, where I'm invested. So it's a whole working mechanism, organism separately, not just people coming and forming a group. The next is private equity. Private equity is a much larger version of venture capital. You're talking about people, not just 5, 10, 20 people. You're talking about private equity which has hundreds of high net worth individuals who will put the money for 5 years. So let's say I am running a private equity. So what does it mean? Private equity. I am getting money from private individuals basically. But I'll say, look, if you give money to me, you cannot take it back within 5 years. That's the commitment. 5, 6, 7, whatever. Different private equities have different years. Some people have 15 years, 10 years, whatever. And basically that's called as a lock-in period. And I will run, these are much larger. There are big private equity firms outside. And these are some of the most coveted jobs in your investment banking. Okay, in your finance, MBA, people who have majored in finance, getting into a private equity or venture capital it's like one of the dreams for people. So you're getting into the kind of company, or you're talking about a kind of company which pools money from hundreds of people, but not people who can give 10,000, 20,000. No, there's a minimum you want to invest with me, minimum put 5 crores. That's the limit, minimum limit you're talking about. Minimum 5 crores, lock in first. So that kind of money if you have, then only you come to me, otherwise don't even bother about it. So that's the way in which private equity work. They will take huge amounts of money, so they can put even 50 crores, 100 crores into companies and startups if required. Then you have mutual funds. Mutual funds are different. Now mutual funds typically don't get into startups. In India, there are different types of mutual funds. So mutual funds is for normal people. So it's not about very rich people anymore. What do mutual funds do? Mutual funds take few thousands of rupees from lakhs of people, crores of people all across the country or the world for that matter. And they will form a huge budget. So imagine, private equity guys they say I'll take crores from individuals and I will have 500 people, 200 people, 300 people giving me that money, or 1,000 people giving me the money. Mutual fund says, look, I will go to 10 crore people. I will take probably 20,000 from each person. So you are looking at volume, huge volumes of people sending their money, and that's what you would have heard of systematic investment plan. You know, people who cannot put 1 crore or even 5 lakhs or even 1 lakh at a time, they'll say, okay, look, I'll put 10,000 every month, 5,000 every month in this mutual fund. So the mutual fund will take this money, and what will they do with with this money? They will start investing this money in different listed companies. Typically, they will put money in listed companies, and depending upon what types of companies they put in, they will be called as big cap, large cap mutual funds. Okay, I think I'm getting an echo. Okay guys, just hold on. I will have to take care of this. I think there is an echo coming in from my side. Just give me a moment.
Ravi, ఇక్కడ వీళ్ళు సౌండ్ పెడుతున్నారు దీని లోపల. ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు టేక్ ఇట్ అవుట్. ఇక్కడ వీడియో ప్లే అవుతుంది అండ్ ద సౌండ్ ఇస్ కమింగ్ టు ద సిస్టమ్. ఐఎమ్ ట్రైంగ్ టు మ్యూట్ ఇట్. మధ్యలో సెంట్రల్ సిస్టమ్. అక్కడ మ్యూట్ చేస్తే వాళ్ళు అన్మ్యూట్ చేస్తున్నారు. 2 times చేశాను. ఇప్పుడు ఓకే, మళ్ళీ మ్యూట్ చేశాను. మళ్ళీ అన్మ్యూట్ చేస్తే ప్రాబ్లం. వాళ్ళకి చెప్పు అన్మ్యూట్ చేద్దాం. బికాస్ ఐఎమ్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు మ్యూట్ ఇట్ ఫ్రమ్ హియర్. సిస్టమ్ మ్యూట్ చేయట్లేదు.
Right guys, so I'm back. Guys, am I audible? Clear? Can you quickly confirm? Rahul, Priyadarshi, Dipankar, are you guys there? Okay, thanks Kush. Right, so mutual funds, so this mutual funds, as I said, they will take money from lakhs and crores of people. They will have a huge money pool with them, and they'll start putting money in different companies which are listed in the stock exchange, typically listed in the stock exchange. Then finally the hedge funds. Hedge funds are again different. They typically don't go to startups. They don't put money typically in startups. They don't put money in companies. What they try to do is they try to take advantage of market imperfections. I'll give you the perfect example, which is there in the news. Which hedge fund am I talking about? Guys, which one am I talking about? There is a hedge fund which has been in the news in India for a very recently, in the last 1-2 months. A huge cry about that particular hedge fund. Which one is it? Anybody remembers? All of you should know this. Anyone? Yes, Hindenburg. Very good. Hindenburg is a hedge fund. Now, what did they do? Did they invest money in Adani Group? No. What is their purpose? How does a hedge fund work? Yes. So, how does a hedge fund work? It looks at market imperfections. MARKT, market imperfections. So what does it mean? It means they will look at companies. I'm just giving you one example. This is just one example. If a price of something is supposed to be X, it is supposed to be X, but right now it is X plus 100. They can do something about it and get this extra 100 rupees. So if they feel that the market value of something, it could be a company, it could be currency, it could be anything. Hedge funds deal, there's no limit. Hedge funds are there everywhere. You know, they can buy a mine and get into the mining of certain things also. There's no limit to what hedge fund can do. Typically, they don't put money in companies. What they will do is they look at, okay, is there something wrong somewhere? If there is something wrong somewhere, I will try to go and take advantage of the situation. So here, what did they do? They started, in Adani's case, they felt that the Adani stock was overpriced for various reasons. Let's not get into why. They have given multiple reasons. Let's not worry about it. But the point is, they felt it is overpriced. They said, look, the price was 3,500 or something. We feel this is too costly, which means there is a correction possible. So what do? They started doing something called as shorting. The process, or there is a maneuver called shorting. I'm not getting into the trading terms now, because again, if I start getting into it, I have to explain a lot of things. So because of this process of shorting, they were able to bring this price down to almost, today it's trading at 1700. In fact, it went to as low as 1100. And slowly the company price recovered to 1700. So they started shorting, and when the price went back to 1100, they made a lot of money, because basically shorting means you will sell first and buy later. You will sell first a lot and then buy later. So when you are selling it at 3,500 and then buying it at 1100, you are going to make a huge amount of profit. So this is one kind of thing that a hedge fund can do. A hedge fund can do any such kind of things depending upon where they see an anomaly in the market. There is no limit to it. All of those activities can be taken up by hedge funds. Okay? Clear? Now, straight away answer based on this. Which of the following usually do not invest in startups? Which of the following do not usually invest in startups? Straightforward. The answer is hedge funds. I already explained to you. Private equity, they do. Venture capitals, they do. Angel investors, they do. But as I explained, hedge funds usually don't go to startups. For them, startups are too small. They are talking about billions. You know, they are talking about 8,000 crores, 10,000 crores, 20,000 crores. They are playing at that level, hedge funds. So for them, 20 crores, 30 crores is like, what is this? I don't even want to waste my time. Okay, so that's the reason why they don't get into these kind of small things. Clear? Rahul, there is nothing illegal about hedge funds, and hedge funds don't have to stick to, see, mutual funds. There is a rule. You cannot, mutual funds in India at least, mutual funds in India cannot invest in certain types of companies. They are supposed to restrict themselves to invest in certain types of companies only. So there are rules and regulations. Hedge funds, no rules. There are zero rules. As long as it is legal in a company. So you can't say that I will finance terrorism, which there are movies made up of. Hedge funds, financing terrorism, this, that and all. Fine, true or false, doesn't matter. But typically, as long as legally you are allowed to do something, you can do it. Now, shorting is not illegal in India. You can short if you have the money and the power to do it. So it is nothing illegal per se. Yes, you can do it. Right? So as long as things are legal, you can make use of the legal provisions and make use of the market imperfection and make money. Okay? Sharks, Nimishka, sharks are individuals. Individuals, they come into the angel investor category. Either in angel or venture capital. Okay, some of them will give their own money to private equity. Okay? Okay, let's get back to a few other questions. Yeah, this is done. Now, the next thing is innovation life cycle. Now, we are learning about innovation. So, innovation has something called as a life cycle. Now, the answer you will not know obviously because I have to tell you the 4 basic structures or 4 basic parts of a life cycle in innovation. So, the first step in innovation is ideation. The first step is ideation. The second step is project selection. The third step is product development. And the fourth step is commercialization. Obviously, which means the answer here is investment. That is not the part of the innovation life cycle. But what is this innovation life cycle? What are these 4 parts? So basically, when you're talking about something new, a new product or a new idea, building that idea and taking it to completion, this is called as a life cycle. And because you're talking about something new that did not exist before, it is called as an innovation life cycle. It has 4 phases in it. The first phase is called as ideation. What is ideation? Ideation is concept creation, research. So ideation is creating the idea, something new which did not exist before. What is this idea? Coming up with idea and doing research to find out whether this idea is possible or not. For example, I know there are no flying cars. That's an idea, great. But I have to do research to find out, is it even possible to have flying cars? Is it using today's technology and the people who are existing today, their brilliance, is it first of all possible for me to create this kind of a flying car? The research, and if it is possible, how much cost would it be? What would be the inputs? What will I need? All that comes under ideation. The second is called as project selection. Now, when you're talking about innovation, you're basically talking about the decision to invest. So in a company, if I have an incubating cell, if I have an incubating cell in a company, there will be multiple ideas given to me. Somebody says, look sir, this is a good idea. They'll say, look Srinivas, this is a good idea. Now, I have to decide as a manager, which of these ideas I want to take forward. For example, you look at Apple, you look at Microsoft, you look at Facebook, any of these. They have multiple ideas coming up. They have to decide which ideas they want to put money in. You would have heard of Google balloons. You would have heard of Google, their 3D, or augmented reality spectacles. Lot of such things. They have to, so these are the ones they are funding. So you hear about news, which means there will be a lot other ideas that they are not even bothered. It would have come up, discussed, some small pilot would have been done and then discarded. So the second part is project selection. Which project should I take up for innovation? Or should I continue with, which idea should I continue so that it becomes a product later on? So that is called as project selection. It requires a lot of skill because you're talking about technology which is getting built. Who will say, or you should have the vision to say that, look, this will make money 10 years, 20 years down the line. I'm going to invest it for 20 years and 20 years down the line, I'm going to be the number 1 company. But you have to think that far ahead. I'll tell you one good example. Google, if I remember it, almost 15 years back, started thinking that, look, the size of your images, when you take a phone and you start clicking the image, today it's very natural. You have high resolution images. Each picture could be some 50 MB, 60 MB, 100 MB pictures also, 120 MB pictures. You're talking about pixels which are 100 megapixels, 120 megapixels cameras and all coming your way, right? Imagine way back in 2006, 2007, when India was getting smartphones and we didn't have that big pixels at all. Google had the vision to say that, look, I know that people will start getting more and more clearer pictures. What happens because of that? People will start requiring more and more space, right? So, and also they know that if people can carry a mobile, see earlier there used to be a camera, reel, you need to take a picture, develop that, make an album. That used to be a big process. If you go elsewhere, you need to carry your own camera, put a camera here and then take a picture every time. So they felt that, look, those days are gone. The future is people will just carry a phone which has a camera. They'll just keep clicking again and again. Now remember, there is no money to click pictures, correct? Free of cost. So the number of pictures you take will go exponentially higher. Whereas if you have to take a camera and a reel, there is a cost associated to it. The reel was costly. So you are very choosy. Okay, nice location, nice this thing. You will not click 5 pictures and say, oh, I'll select one. You will be in very good position, click one picture. But now it's not like that. You are talking about taking 20 pictures just to get one out of those 20 and the other 19 might not even be discarded by you. So what they realize is, look, people are going to do this and they want to store all these memories. Imagine a student today who is in 6th, 7th class. For example, my kid is 8 and a half years old. Okay, I am clicking pictures for him and I'm making a storyline for him, and I want to store all these till he grows up and hand it over to him. Now that is going to take GBs and GBs of it. I can't have a hard drive, so where will I store it? I'll store it in the cloud. So Google envisioned this 15, 18 years ago, and they started saying that let's charge people for the space they're going to use. We will give 15 GB free. We will give 15 GB free, but more than 15 GB if you want to save, you will have to pay. And today I am subscribing almost 100 GB, and I'll probably increase it later because I have my wife's, my pictures, my wife's pictures, my kids' pictures, my parents' pictures, all of them coming in. So even 100 GB will not be enough, and they thought about it 20 years ago. How many of us would have even thought about this thing 20 years back? So such things require, so you need somebody who can think so long and then pick the right project. Okay, then once the project is selected, the next thing is product development. You have to develop the product, so you make sure that the product is completely developed, look at the finer aspects of it, build the technology properly, make sure that there are no bugs, look at the the aspect of reducing the cost, input cost, various things like that. And finally, commercialization. Commercialization is basically taking the product, taking to market. So the idea is no more an idea, it's now a product, it's ready to sell. You are taking it to the market, you are selling it. The process of bringing it to the market is called as commercialization. So these are the 4 parts in a innovation life cycle. So the answer here is investment is not a part of it. Clear? Dipankar, this year for CMAT we have provided 5 mock tests. Okay? Right, let's move on. Okay guys, this is a very good question. It's based on the concept called as sunk cost. S-U-N-K, sunk cost. I'll explain the concept, but let's see how many of you know the answer to this. Let's see. What is the answer? Nimishka, I don't think you can get PDFs, but the lectures are going to be there, so don't worry. John, yes, every college will have a deadline for application. So should you apply to the colleges before CMAT? Depends on the deadline. Please don't miss your deadlines. Okay? Alright guys, so what is the answer to this? Anybody else? Okay, anybody else? No idea? Right, guys, the correct answer is C. Okay, let us understand what is the reason behind it and why is this C. First of all, let's understand the meaning of sunk cost. What is this sunk cost? Sunk cost is basically the cost that cannot be recovered anymore. It cannot be recovered anymore, it's gone. The funda you're going to learn in economics of sunk cost is when you incur a cost which is called as sunk cost, this cost should now not affect your future decision. So your decision should be in such a way that as if this cost did not incur and it doesn't matter to you. So if this cost has not occurred to you, based on the information you have in front of you, what decision you would have taken. That is the meaning of sunk cost. Sunk cost basically sunk, it's gone. It's under the water, gone. So the reason is, look, I'll give you the explanation why C is the correct answer. See, you already bought the ticket. Let's say you spent 500 rupees. Great. You know for sure the movie is horrible. In fact, people are saying that, look, you go to the movie, you'll get a headache. And you'll probably have to sleep for the next half day. Now look at the information in front of you. You spent 500 rupees, that's anyway gone. You can't get it back. Non-refundable tickets. But if you go, what is the advantage? Zero advantage. If you don't go, in fact, if you go, there's a disadvantage. You will get a headache. If you don't go, you will at least have that half day left out for you. You can hang out with your friends, you can go to another movie, whatever. Because that 500 rupees, whether you go or not go, it is wasted. So the best thing to do in such kind of a thing is don't go to movie, do anything else in its place, because you know the movie sucks big time. So the money is anyway wasted. If you see the movie also, the money is wasted. If you don't see the movie also, the money is wasted. So your decision of seeing or not seeing the movie should not depend on the money that you spend. That is basically the logic of sunk cost. Is this clear? Okay, let's move on. Okay, the next thing is, when you're talking about selling products, there are different types of markets where the products can be sold. So let me give you a basic understanding of what are the different types of markets. So I have, yes, not this. Yes. So what are the types of markets in which trading can happen? Any buying and selling. The first is called as primary market. What is the meaning of this primary market? The primary market is a place where company, that is original equipment manufacturer, OEM, basically the company which is manufacturing things, making the product, is directly selling to the customer. The place where this happens is called as a primary market. Okay? Then there is a secondary market. What is a secondary market? Secondary market is customers selling and buying amongst them. Let's take an example of finance. When you're talking about a company giving its shares for the first time or the second time for people directly, from the company to the people, what do we call it? What is it called? Anyone? What is the term used? Company giving its shares to the public directly. What is the process? I'm sure all of you know. It's called IPO, Initial Public Offering. So what does it mean? It means the company is giving its shares to the public directly. Earlier these shares did not exist. Now the company is giving these shares to the market. In the market it is bringing. This is called as an IPO. So it is IPO is called as a primary market, or the IPO market is called as a primary market. The normal stock exchange, that you see is called as a secondary market, because in stock exchange what happens? You and I will sell and buy, right? So customer to customer, there's no company involved anymore. I have a share, you want it, I'll buy, I'll sell, give it to you, you will give me money, over. So the secondary market is called as a typical stock exchange. Then there is a tertiary and a quaternary market too, not always present, but some cases it is there. Tertiary market is a place where you buy and sell things from dealer. So the dealer is somebody who takes products from the company, and he will reach out to the customers and sell it. Such market is called as, for example, your second-hand cars. Second-hand cars, I can sell my car directly to another person, which is a secondary market. When I buy the car directly from a company, that is a primary market. Whereas the dealer taking car from me and giving it to another person, a second-hand car, that is your tertiary market. And finally, you have a quaternary market also. Again, very rare cases you have it. This is where company to company buying happens. The individual peoples or dealers are not involved. Company to company, the buying and selling happens directly. Such market is called as quaternary market. This again typically happens in finance. In terms of bonds, you have this treasury bonds or treasury bills. Lot of, in fact, all your options, not all, at least your structured options. You have company to company, institution to institution buying and selling, where in normal people like you and me are not involved. Okay? And then finally, grey market. Now this is where the question comes. So I'll take the question first. Let me see how many of you know the answer. Then I'll give you the answer to it. What is grey market? The answer is here. Let's understand. The only part I didn't explain is grey market. Give me the answer to this. What is the correct answer? Very good. The correct answer is D. Grey market, it is not illegal. Grey market is not illegal. It is not illegal, nothing wrong. Okay? It is not unbranded. You can buy and sell branded things also. Okay? Country of origin not mentioned. This is also not correct. You will know very well which product, obviously if you know the brand, you know where which country is producing it. What is the meaning of a grey market? The grey market meaning is, it is a platform which is not authorized by the manufacturer. It is a platform which is not authorized by the manufacturer. That's it, nothing else. Okay, so this is called as a grey market. Okay. For example, let us say instead of a stock exchange, you and I sell and buy shares outside the stock exchange. That is called as a grey market. Why? Because stock exchange is authorized by the manufacturer, in this case the company which has the shares. So the company knows if you sell on the stock exchange, it is authorized. So something illegal happens, there is a cover for it. Some fraud happens, the SEBI comes in and deals with it. A grey market, there is no such thing. See, I and you are dealing with it outside the market. So market price you might follow, you might not follow. I can cheat you also. You can't go to anybody and complain. You can actually complain for fraud, but at least the recovery will go through the criminal process. On a stock exchange, if there is a fraud, there are institutions which will come and safeguard, which will help you out. Okay? Rahul, not authorized. Authorized means recognized. Let's use the word instead of authorized, recognized. Not recognized. So they can fool you also, no? So let's say that I am selling you my car Alto and you want to buy it, and I'm not doing through any channel which is recognized by the manufacturer. So if I sell you an Alto which is not in perfect condition, or it's a fake Alto or a fake iPhone, you can't go to the company and say, look, I got a fake iPhone or a fake car. Fake car is very difficult, but fake iPhone is very much possible. The Chinese models are always there. So the company says, look, I did not authorize or have a recognition of this place where you're buying and selling. So why are you coming to me? There's nothing I can do. Okay? Okay, let's move on. Now, we discussed about the type of markets. The next thing is type of competitions. What are the different types of competitions that exist? Broadly speaking, these are the 4 types of competitions. First is perfect competition, which means there are so many sellers. It's like, you go to a market, you have people selling tomatoes. There will be 20 people selling tomatoes. Mostly all tomatoes are similar. And all of them will have similar pricing, because if they keep it high, you will not buy from them unless it's very good quality. So typically in perfect competition, you have many sellers, no differentiation, hence no price control. You can't control the price. Why? Because everybody has the same product. If you say I will keep it high, who will come to you? You can't. If you say you will keep it low, everybody will do the same thing, because people will come to you because all of them are same. So you will keep it at a point where the supply and demand are meeting. Right? So you can't control the price in this perfect competition. Then you have something called as monopolistic competition. So this is one end. In competition terms, this is 0 and this is 1. This is perfect competition. Perfect competition, which means 0 pricing power. And this is totally imperfect, so monopoly. The other end of the spectrum is monopoly. What is monopoly? There's only one person, straightforward. One person, I am the only person. You want, you pay whatever I want. You don't want, go. That's called as a monopoly. Right? So typically your railroads, in India, most of the railroad is more or less monopoly, government. It's controlled by the government. So while the government keeps the prices low, just thinking hypothetically, tomorrow morning if the government comes up and says, look, I'm going to double all the prices, there's nothing you can do. You want to use, you use it. Otherwise, you can't use it. But obviously the government will not do that. But I'm just giving you an example. A monopoly is where you're 100%, you can decide what should be the price. You can decide what the price should be. Obviously, people cannot start the same business for whatever reason. There are many reasons why the people cannot start the same business. So you are the only person sitting there and doing it. Okay, that's called as a monopoly. In between these, you have two other things. One is monopolistic somewhere and one is oligopoly. So oligopoly is slightly closer to monopoly. Monopolistic is slightly closer to your perfect competition. So what is this monopolistic and oligopoly? Oligopoly is not exactly a monopoly. Monopoly is one person or one company dictating terms. Okay. Whereas oligopoly is two people or three companies or small number, 3, 4, 5 companies, but only that much. For example, in India, how many mobile network brands are there? Who are the big ones? Jio is there, Airtel is there, Vodafone is there, Idea Vodafone. Is there anything else apart from these three? Do you guys remember anything else? Apart from these three, do you know anything else? Any other mobile company? Probably BPL is there in some small pockets. BSNL, yes, BSNL. But again, you're talking about 3 or 4. 3 or 4. No, noodles is not a oligopoly. Noodles are many. Noodles are many. Aircel is not there anymore, I believe. So oligopoly could be our mobile networks. Network operators. Right, you have 5, 4, 4, 5 only. That's it. Now what happens here? For whatever reason, we'll see what are the reasons why this happens later. But for whatever reason, people cannot enter very easily. People cannot enter very easily into this business. So these 3, 4, 5 companies they can keep a price. They can come together and decide, okay, secretly we'll keep the price as X, or they could, fight against each other and finally realize that X is the price that we have to keep. Whatever. But oligopoly, there is a decent price control. Price control. You can control the price. Okay. And obviously the buyers cannot decide what should be the price because you have very few players, and if all of them come together, they form something called as a cartel. Cartel is a group of people coming together to decide the price. Okay. And if they come and say, look, the price should be this amount, you can't say anything as a customer because all of them are saying the same. Where will you go then? That can happen. I'm not saying it will always happen. It can happen. That's where the government tries to step in and say that there is no cartelization happening. If they find it to be obvious, then they have their own ways to deal with it. But anyway, that is called as oligopoly. And finally, it is monopolistic. What is monopolistic? It is not perfect competition. There are some limited number of perfect competition is infinite sellers. It's only a theoretical concept. In real world, perfect monopoly and perfect competition doesn't exist because they are extreme cases. But yeah, the realistic case here is monopolistic competition is where usually we find our things. There will be large number of players, but not infinite. So you can have 20 people, 30 companies, 20 companies doing this. And because of which there will be some uniqueness in it. For example, mobile companies, so many mobile companies. But yeah, there is some uniqueness about each mobile. But they are also, if I don't like this, I can switch. It's not that if this mobile is not there, there's nothing else for me. So I can switch from one company to another company, one product to another product with a little bit of feature differences. So some pricing power they'll have, not exactly too much. And yes, there are many number of companies. So the pricing power will be slightly lower for them. So this is called as a monopolistic competition. Okay, let's move on. Now, I just told you that there can be monopolies, there can be oligopolies. How are they happening? Typically, these are formed because of something called as entry barriers. So what are these entry barriers? Entry barriers are those factors that stop new players from coming and setting up the business, because of which a monopoly or an oligopoly could be created. What are these entry barriers? One could be special tax benefits. For example, if the government is giving some special benefit to a company, that could be an entry barrier. Why should it stop others from coming in? Reason is very simple. The government is giving, let's say, 2 companies. Okay, the 2 companies, Basically, cost price is same for both. 100 rupees, 100 rupees. The selling price, both of them are selling it at 120 rupees, 120 rupees. But the tax is only 5% here and the tax is 25% here. Look at what happens. The profit is, the profit here is how much? Both cases is the same, 20 and 20. But here, I will take only 5% tax. So 5% of 20 is 1 rupee. So my final profit is 19 rupees. Whereas here, what is my final profit? Out of 20 rupees, 25% is gone, 1/4 is gone. So my profit is only 15 rupees. So I know this is going to happen. If I am the company A, I can take this 120 and bring it down. I can bring it down to, let's say, 110 rupees. Now what will happen? I will make profit 10, but still 5%. 5% of 10 is 50 paise. So I will make 9.5 rupees profit. Now, first of all, people will not go to him because if the products are same, I am giving it very cheap, they will come to me. So what will he have to do? He will also have to bring it down to 110. Okay. So then on this 10 rupees profit, 2.5 is gone. So his profit is only now 7.5 rupees. So if you notice, I am still ending up making more money than him. So I can bring the price even lower to make sure that his profit is more or less negligible. So then he will think, why should I run this business? What am I getting out of it? He is having 20% benefit from the government. I am not getting it. Similarly, the tax can also affect in the cost price straight away. If the cost price including tax is 100 rupees for him, for me it might be 80 rupees straight away. So that's even more challenging. If I say, because of the government taxes, if I buy something, I am paying only 80, but he will have to pay 100. I can sell it at 100. He cannot sell it at 100 at all. So he can never match my price. And he'll be out of business. So that could be called as an entry barrier. Then patents. This is purely technology, right? Technology patents are an entry barrier. So I develop a new technology and I have a patent for it. You can't do the business at all in this because that technology belongs only to me. So that is straight away an entry barrier. Brand loyalty is also an entry barrier. For example, if I want to get into the segment of iPhone, I want to sell a 1 lakh phone. So who am I competing with? I am competing with the Samsung Galaxy series top end S something and the iPhone. Those are the top things that I'm competing with. Now, firstly, I know that people who love iPhones, they don't think of switching at all. So my challenge is not just to make an excellent product. My challenge is first to win their customers and bring them to me. How will I do that? If the loyalty is so high that they don't want to switch, then what can I do? For example, this typically happens in airlines. Airlines, earlier, they used to have a lot of something called as mileage. So if I keep using, let's say, Indigo doesn't have any such things, but earlier airlines, there are a lot of stories about airlines where they used to give you mileage or miles, air miles. So I keep using the same company again and again to fly. I will accumulate something called as air miles. And I can, once I start getting these points, I can use these points to pay for my next ticket. So the more points I accumulate, the more I can pay. Now imagine a similar company comes, will I be switching? Even if it is a little bit cheaper? No. Why? Because I have so many points, which is free money to me. So before I consume all of this, I will not shift. But the more I keep using it, I'll keep getting more and more points. So I'm somehow stuck to this particular company. So that is also a way in which loyalty can be developed. Anyway, so that's another thing. Similarly, switching cost. I just gave you the example. Brand loyalty, switching costs. For example, iPhone, what is the switching cost? Switching cost is you have to get used from everything. See, Android and iPhone, your Windows and Mac, everything is reverse. Whatever is happening on the left hand side will happen on the right hand side. The right hand side will happen on the left hand side, right? So first getting used to it. That's one way of talking about switching cost. Somebody who's been using Windows all their life suddenly go to Mac. For the first 20 days, 30 days, they'll go mad. Because whatever they're used to, it's the reverse here, including the cross into button, right? And then of course, regulatory issues, straightforward regulatory. If the government says, I cannot allow more than 2 companies in this sector, there's nothing you can do. 2 companies are already there, there's nothing you can do, you're out. The third company cannot even enter. So any government regulation, there's nothing you can do. Okay, these are called as entry barriers. There are many other entry barriers too. So let's take this example and see, if you understood the concept of entry barriers, tell me the answer to this. Which one of the following is not likely to be a kind of barrier to entry in a monopoly? In a monopoly. So I've given you examples. This is an extrapolation of the examples. All right. Guys, the correct answer is E. None of these. So technology, all of you understand. Control of natural resources is obvious. Brand loyalty, already explained. This also, let me explain. What is economies of scale? Let me give you an example. Maruti is able to make cars at 3.5 lakhs to 4 lakhs. Today, it's able to make an Alto at 3 lakhs, 3.25 lakhs. It's able to sell that car to you and still be profitable. Why? Because they are able to sell some lakhs of such cars. Just imagine, what is the meaning of economies of scale? When I am making lakhs and lakhs of these cars, when I go and place an order to make steering wheels or tires, I will not say, hey, give me 10,000 tires, give me 20,000 tires. I'll say, look, I want, if I'm projecting to sell 2 lakh cars, I will need 2 lakh into 5. I need 10 lakh tires. So I will go to a manufacturer and say, of a tire manufacturer, and say, look, I'm going to place an order of 10 lakhs. What is the best price you can give me? Compare this with a new company. Can a new company starting itself sell 1 lakh cars? Obviously it can't. It will start with 5,000, 10,000, whatever. Can it get the same price that I'm getting? No. Which means if I can make a car at, let's say, 2.5 lakhs or 3 lakhs, this is my remaining is my profit. That 50,000 to 1 lakh is my profit. But when it comes to a new company, because their scale is small, their input cost cannot be at 3 lakhs. Their input cost itself could be at 3.5 or 3.75 lakhs. So they will never be able to bring it to this price. So they will have to sell it at 4.5 or 5 lakhs. Now, imagine same type of car at 5 lakhs. Why will they buy? Nobody will buy. So they have to work on getting the price lower and lower. That is very difficult because they don't have the volume. That is called as economies of scale. And that can also be an entry barrier. Okay? That is the reason why E is the correct answer here. Alright. This is a GK question. Enough of theory, so a little bit of 5-10 seconds of breather for me. What is the answer to this? What is the answer? So EGO is Italy, BYJU'S is Hungary, not Hungary, Hungary. Flyer is, it's the answer, Oslo, Norway. And Islas is Spain. Okay, let's move on. I explained all these. Grey market, I give you. Okay, this is the next question. What is the correct order of countries in the descending order that have homes to unicorns? Homes to unicorns. Descending order. What is the answer? Very good. The correct answer is B. US, of course, is the highest. China is the second highest. India has come to the third position now, and UK is in the fourth position. So India has overtaken UK. So for you to understand, UK or US is somewhere in the vicinity, somewhere close to 500. China is somewhere close to 300. India is somewhere close to 55 to 60, somewhere in that range. And UK, it is somewhere in the range of 40, 35s, 40s. And Germany is here, but I'm just giving you the answer. This is close to 25 to 30. These are the number of unicorns. Clear? Let's move on. Okay, the next is the term called social entrepreneur. Now, the three statements here makes it very obvious. Who is a social entrepreneur? A social entrepreneur is a person who thinks of innovative ways to solve community-based problems. So, a society has a problem. I want to solve the problem using innovative ways. Such a person is called as a social entrepreneur. It is not always for profits. It could be philanthropy. It could be that I care about the nature or the environment or the society per se. I could do it for the poor, whatever could be the reason. It is not always for money. Okay? And ethical and environmental position practices. So you basically, obviously you're doing it for the society. You can't have unethical or non-environmental friendly processes. So typically you follow the law, you follow ethics, morals, and also make sure that you don't disrupt the ecosystem, the environment. The examples, Grameen Bank. Grameen Bank is one bank which basically came into news long time back for microfinancing. So what is their concept? They said, look, small farmers find it difficult to get loans. So they started this Grameen Bank. The whole idea, Gram is basically village. The purpose here is to make sure that small amounts of loans are available for farmers, and that's my basic objective. Okay? Arvind Eye Hospital, all these are case studies you will learn when you get into your B schools. But Arvind Eye Hospitals, a chain of hospitals doing cheap surgeries, eye surgeries, for hundreds and thousands of people across the country. Amul, Mr. Kurian, may his soul rest in peace. He developed this entire concept of bringing the people together and in Gujarat and making use of the community where milk is extracted. Is extracted is the right word? I hope it is. So what do you do with that milk? You make sure that that milk is processed and brought it to the market. That way the society becomes stronger because you are generating a revenue stream. Otherwise, see, they can say if you have a typical person with 20 cows or buffaloes, you can only take milk. What will you do with it? You can only sell the milk. But these people, Amul, their idea was, look, it's not just milk. We can give them butter, ghee, so many other things. Milk, dairy-based products. And we can sell all of them. And we will take the milk from this particular area of the society. Therefore, their milk is always going to be sold. And I will have a continuous source of raw material and making sure that my product is of a very good quality and selling it to the public. And of course, Lijjat Papad, once again, you can think about it. That's a huge case study. It is there in YouTube. You can read about it. Lijjat Papad was started by an individual women entrepreneur who saw that women are capable of running a business. This was started at a time where business and women were, mutually independent events, not even exclusive. You barely see any women in the business sector. At that point, the lady, I don't remember the name, she started this whole idea of Lijjat Papads, and now it's a multi-thousand crore company. Okay, right, so those are the examples. Okay, so what is the answer to this based on what we discussed? Right, the answer here is obviously option C. Very straightforward. Right? Recognize a social problem. Yes, you will do that. Focus on creation. Social capital. Yes. What is social capital? Social capital is the networking, people, trust, all of these silent factors. It's not money per se. Social capital is anything that you're creating with respect to people. The trust that you're going to build, the relationship that you have with them, the brand that you're going to create for yourself, not a product. Okay, all these. Focus on environmental problems could also be done, but definitely it is not focusing on monetary terms. Money, if it comes, good, but that is not the primary focus. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to learn about is the types of entrepreneur. Certain terms, please look at this. Which of the following cannot be a term as a kind of entrepreneurship? I'll explain what each one of these terms mean. Different types of entrepreneurships. One of them is incorrect, the other three terms exist. Which one is it? Very good, the correct answer is A. This term does not exist. Delinquent entrepreneurship does not exist, but let me explain what are these three. Imitative entrepreneurship is very straightforward. Imitative entrepreneurship is, look, I saw an idea, it's not my own idea. I know that an idea exists, but I have some benefit over it. So let us say I have, a particular way in which a technology is being used. So it is not my own technology, it is not my innovation. What I am doing, I will replicate it with some added benefit. So such a person is called as an imitative entrepreneurship. Okay? Hustler is basically a person who's there in multiple things. So he's doing in this, he's doing in that, multiple things. Hustler. Entrepreneur is an interesting thing. This guy is actually not an entrepreneur. He is like an entrepreneur within a larger organization. For example, entrepreneur is typically happening in any of these big companies you're talking about. Google, when I gave an example. So Google will say, look, this is your budget. Start your small company now, within the company. Make your project. Pitch the idea to me. As if I am a investor and you are the entrepreneur. But the money is anyway, the initial money is anyway given by Google. But that guy or that lady who is responsible for that project acts as if that entire thing belongs to the person. They're going to develop the product. They're going to think as an entrepreneur, think about the finances of it, everything as if it's entirely my own thing. But it is actually done within an organization. Such a person is called as an entrepreneur. Yes, Dipanka, that's very good. So what is the answer to this? Which of the following is not a characteristic of entrepreneur? Obvious answer? Very good. The answer is D. You have to be creative. You have to be creative as an entrepreneur. You have to take risk. Entrepreneurship itself is risk taking. Innovation, yes. The answer is none of these. Now this is an interesting thing. Which language did this word come from? Anyone knows? Which language? This is GK question. Very good. The answer is French. It's a French word. And who coined this? Who was the person who did this? Who came with the term entrepreneur? Do you know this? Again, a GK question. It is Jean-Paul Sartre. He is an 1800 economist. Economist from way back 1800s, so 18th, 19th century. Okay. So he came up with the term in that 1800s. Yeah, obviously it's a French term. He's a French economist. Right? Right. So his definition was entrepreneur is a person who shifts economic resources out of an area of lower productivity into an area of higher productivity. That's what he defined. He said entrepreneur is a person who shifts any resource, could be money, could be people, could be resources, it could be technology, whatever, from a place which is giving you lower returns into a place which is giving you higher returns, and the process is innovation. Basically, you create something new which will better utilize the resources and give you better results. Okay, let's move on. Who is a portfolio entrepreneur? So the term here is, the answer to this term is D. Multiple, so like a hustler. Okay, here this is similar to hustler. hustler entrepreneur. Right? You are doing side businesses and basically here you're looking at multiple businesses parallelly. Okay? Let's move on. This I think we already spoke about. Forces affecting a business, economic environment, I already explained to you, entry barriers or affecting your business. Legal changes, competition obviously affects your business. Any technology change, for example, look at this case of Kodak camera. Once Kodak was number one, today it's non-existent. Why? Because they did not change with technology. Similarly, Nokia was once the number one brand in the entire world. It was a Finnish brand, Finland. Today, they are barely a skeleton of what they were once because they did not adapt to the technology change. Social environment and global environment. So social environment, for example, people are becoming more health conscious. So all your gluten free food could be growing, and food which is processed, pre-processed food which is not healthy, supposedly, can start deteriorating. The companies might face a downfall. Global environment. Similarly, if you're talking about, let's talk about in general environment, the climate pollution and climate control. So there are huge diesel trucks and huge petrol cars in US, like the Hummer. Huge value. I mean, they're like monsters. And if people are moving towards electronic vehicles, or they're becoming conscious about how badly they're affecting the nature, they can stop buying those vehicles. And that's basically the way in which you're looking at it. Okay? Mayank, I'll check that. Is it John Baptist or not? Let me check that. Thanks for the correction. I'll check it out. All right. All right, guys. So I think that brings us. These are GK questions. I think I will take it up in the next class. So we'll stop this session right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the session today. A lot of things I've spoken about. I hope you made notes of all of them. So guys, I'll catch you on Thursday, 1 p.m. Then third session in the series of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So please give me a like before you leave out, and make sure that you have an alarm set for 1 p.m. Thursday. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening.